Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing the Tethrd saddle. Now, if you don't know what a saddle is, saddle hunting, it's basically one of the systems to be able to hunt deer or any other critters, bears or whatever the case may be, from an elevated position like you would in a tree stand, but you have a little bit more flexibility with a saddle. Now, a saddle is basically like a harness that goes around your hips, and there's usually a single point connection once you're up at the top, and it allows you to basically move around the tree almost 360 degrees to be able to pull off the shot. You can also use the tree in front of you as almost like cover and move around the tree if you're not interested in the deer that is kind of roaming around, versus if you were sitting in a tree stand, you're kind of stuck in that one position, giving you kind of a more limited amount of shooting positions. Now, today I'm specifically doing the Tethrd saddle. Now, I've been hunting with this saddle for 2 years now. I haven't hunted with any other saddle, so I'm not paid by them at all. I'm just going to give you the pros and cons and maybe some tips on how to up your game and just some things that I've learned over time on making the system a little bit better. Now, why I'm starting kind of my channel with this product is because I think this product is more pros than cons. Now, there's other features that come with the saddle, like the Predator platform that Tethrd make. There's a backpack. I think there's some of their products that maybe are not as good as the others, like their Tethrd 1.6 will be a separate video as well, which I love. But for today, we're only going to be focusing on the saddle, and it can be complex enough as it is. Now, I'm going to steamroll through this review because I think I want to just save your time and just kind of get to the good stuff, get to the meat right away on what I like or what I dislike, or maybe a tip on how to improve your system. So if you don't know how it works, it's basically this, it's kind of a mesh, what would you call it, like a harness system that wraps around your hips. There's a connection point that comes right in the middle, like a seat belt, and then as well, just like you would any harness, it comes underneath the kind of crotch area, and there's some dedicated hooks for on either side, and it hooks into these orange tabs. Now, how a saddle actually works, before I get to that, there's two reasons why I picked the saddle, and the first reason is because I wanted to be able to mobile hunt. I don't want to lug around a whole bunch of tree stand crap and go in multiple times and put my scent all over the place. Essentially, I wanted to be able to carry a light system, go in once, go up a tree, become like a ninja, take out the deer on that one single sit, and come back down in 10 minutes to come back down and get out of there like as if nothing happened. I think that style of hunting, historically, for the big buck shooters, especially on public land, I think that's the ticket. I think that is the way to do it. Now, there's a multitude of different avenues within that kind of hunting from a tree stand or from a saddle. There's a whole bunch of different avenues, and I think that's what's beautiful about the DIY system of a saddle. You can kind of customize it to whatever you like, but at the end of the day, it is a beautiful system. The second reason is that I'm absolutely terrified of heights. I hate heights. I don't like it. But I knew that I had to kind of get into it in order to up my game for my deer hunting. So this system is nice because you always have at least one, or up to two ways of connecting to the tree and not falling out of the tree, which for me, that is a absolute must, and that's why I like any kind of saddle system. But today I'm going to be reviewing this one because this is the one that I have, and this is the one I've been trying for 2 years. So how it works is they have this awesome design where you have a 2-pouch system. Okay, you have one pouch, I'm going to call this to my left. This one is my lineman's rope. What it does is it's always connected to on one side, let's say on my one hip, and when you pull it out of the pouch, it's really great. They call it cis haulers, I guess. to hold these, basically a pouch to hold your rope. It goes around the tree and it connects onto the other side like this. Basically, you have this kind of like an arborist would. You would climb the tree, pull it up, and then you put tension in it, and it keeps you basically from falling. If you fall, it'll basically add tension to the tree, and it's a great way to not fall out of the tree. So once you're up at the top, you also have what's called, in front of you, you have what's called a bridge. Now once you get to the top, you got your tether, which lineman's rope has 2 points of connection. Basically you have 2 lines, whereas a tether has a single point, and the single point is great because it allows you to go basically work your way around the tree from a single point, basically turning your body to be able to shoot in multiple different angles. So the lineman's rope, you don't disconnect the lineman's rope until you've connected your tether. But let's say while you're connected with your lineman's rope on one side, you'll go ahead, and once you reach the top, you set up your platform, you set up your climbing sticks, whatever the case may be. You're at your final height. At that point, you take out your tether. Now this would wrap around the tree, goes through this loop, and essentially it would connect all the way onto your bridge. And what that does is it allows you to kind of wrap around the tree. You can put it over your shoulder and shoot behind you. There's great ways to do it, but essentially this is your tether. So you always have 2 points of connection. At the end of the day, having that connection point makes it that I am no longer terrified of being up in the air. You know what? It only takes a couple sits, and then you like the first time I went up in a tree, my knees were clacking so hard, and I was terrified. And I thought, you know what? This is not for me. This is not for me. But as soon as you start building confidence, man, you'll be pushing and hanging out of that tree from a multitude of different angles, and you'll just become this like timber ninja. I guess there is a company called Timber Ninja as well, but you become like a ninja up in the air. And it took my fear of being up in a tree totally out. Now, this dual system, the way that they set up these 2 pouches, essentially, when it's connected, these become open pouches. Now you can slip your phone in there, or you can put some other stuff or snacks or whatever the case may be once you're up in there. So having the versatility of having the pouches beside you, I think it's freaking phenomenal. Now I'll give you a tip that I do because I think every guy is different. A lot of people have a pull-up rope, and what that is you essentially have this rope that you would pre-attach to your weapon system, your bow or your gun, at the bottom of the tree. And then once you're set up at the top with your tether, and you put your lineman's rope away, and you start hauling your crap up, basically, you have what's called a pull rope of some kind. Now, I don't like messing with knots. I don't like messing with ropes. None of that stuff. What I decided to do now, this is maybe a pro tip or maybe a tip that you can use. I basically had this canteen pouch that I've had for many years back in my like cadet days being up here in Canada. And what I basically did was I cut a hole in the bottom, and I took like a 30 or 40 foot dog leash, and it's super quiet. And what I basically did was I attached this gear tie from a different pull rope, essentially. And just the fact that this kind of, I work my way up the tree, and it always, just the weight of it will hold it down. And as soon as I pull up my weapon system all the way to the top, it just retracts back into its original position. Having this with 0 knots, it's super quiet, and having it behind me, this basically sits right on my tailbone, like right where my ass crack right there. So this is awesome. This stays behind me. This stays connected to the tether at all times, and I never lose it, and it's freaking phenomenal. So this would be an absolute pro tip if I can share anything with you. A great other features you probably want to add that I would recommend is to add some of these clip easy kind of these clipping points that you can add loops. You can put your climbing sticks, your platform. I put this like loop on the back where it loops right around my platform, so it sits behind me as I climb up the tree, and then I can put it back into its position. Now I'll do a review on the platform and maybe the Tethrd One sticks another time, because I think there are some pros and cons to those. But for the saddle alone, the way that this is set up and the way that Tethrd has put this together, to me, this is an absolute 10 out of 10. I don't think there's anything wrong with this this setup. I can't even pick one. The fact that I'm connected twice, and this system, now not talking about their other products, but this product to me is an absolute must, and it's elevated my game like crazy. Killing a doe, killing a buck, I killed a bear this spring with a shotgun out of the tree, and having this system with me, I feel like I can climb pretty much any tree in 10 to 15 minutes, and I can get out within 10 minutes, no problem, even before I lose my final light. Or maybe you want to stay in the tree for an extra few minutes. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if ever you're thinking of working with Tethrd or I'm not paid by Tethrd, I just really like their products. And I would say that out of all the hunting gear I would ever review, I think Tethrd as a company has probably one of the best customer service I've ever seen. Twice did they take care of me when either a product got shipped to the wrong location, or maybe it got lost. One of them got lost in the mail, maybe got stolen through the mail system, but it never came, and they were quick to replace that and make sure that I have a system ready for the hunting season. I think out of all that Tethrd does as a company, I think they're definitely one of the best companies I've ever bought products from, and I'm not paid by them. I just think that they're truly quite amazing, and I really had to put that out there. So if ever you are thinking about it, one last tip before I kind of shut this thing down: if ever you do get a chance to upgrade, instead of a Prusik knot, which you'll see what it's on here, it's a two-handed way to either add slack or tighten up on the slack of your ropes. I use this Ropeman Ascender. You basically a single-handed way to either pull it tighter or to release pressure and tension with a single hand. I think spending that extra cash and getting one for your tether and one for your lineman's rope is it's an absolute must. I think so. I would pay the extra for that. Convenience is super awesome. But anyway, this is my review. I think this one is a 10 out of 10. I can't say anything bad about it, and we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.